Young world. So I just seen an interview that really heightened my suspicions, man. Really raised my suspicion. There's a dude called Alonzo Williams. They call him the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, which he does earn that title because he's the person very instrumental in a lot of West Coast hip hop and West Coast music. He's the one that started the World Class Wrecking Crew, where Dr. Dre and DJ Yella was a part of before they went to NWA. His house was like the pretty much the hub of West Coast hip hop, the beginning of West Coast hip hop. He had a studio, all that kind of stuff. He was pretty much the centerpiece. Him and like a few other people were definitely the centerpieces of West Coast hip hop starting out. So he got a channel on here called NWA Not Without Alonzo. He does regular videos and stuff like that. He does interviews. Him and his boy Dusty Visions, and he also does a show with Dr. Dre from Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. So check out his channel if you get a chance. He got an interesting channel. But on his channel, he interviewed a Joker named Mike Klein. And this Mike Klein character is the one that was called into Ruthless Records for Jerry Heller and Eazy-E to help them against Suge Knight and Death Row when all that beef was at its height. So I'm sitting there watching this interview just from the door, because Jerry Heller says that when he met this Joker, Mike Klein, he was holding two severed heads. So Alonzo Williams asked him about that, and he was like, yeah, that's true, but he didn't elaborate on it. But he was holding two severed heads, so that just tells you right there, that's going to make you be like, who is this Joker? But the thing that really caught my attention was when he said that he don't believe that Eazy-E's death was anything suspicious. He don't believe there was nothing weird about Eazy-E's death. He believes it was just Eazy-E had AIDS, caught AIDS, died, and that was it. So when I heard him say that, I was like, this ain't make. I ain't never heard nobody who ain't. There hasn't been one Joker we seen on any interview, any show, any movie, any news anywhere that said that they didn't believe that Eazy-E's death was at least suspicious. You know what I'm saying? The timeline, the circumstances, everything about it. Nobody just. Even if it's true and that's what really happened, everybody thinks there's more to it, because you don't just catch AIDS and die that quick with full-blown AIDS. You know, it just don't happen like that. He's the only person I heard yet that claims that said that he don't think there was nothing suspicious about it. And the reason why that raises a lot of red flags is that when this Joker came to Ruthless Records, he came in as security. They hired him to be security. You know what I'm saying? Security means you secure the artist, the label, the people from harm, threat, injury, violence, stuff like that. So how come he edged his way into taking over the whole entire business? By the time he was done with Ruthless Records, this Joker ran through everything. You know what I'm saying? Paperwork, contracts. He pretty much owned I keep saying Death Row. He pretty much owned Ruthless Records by the time he left. There's incidents where they said when Jerry Heller's house got broken into, they was people thought it was like Suge and them, just like the regular regular gossip and stuff like that. He was like, nah, we don't believe it was Suge and them. We're not even sure if it was related to the situation. So tell me, you got this big old bad security dude with his team securing Jerry Heller and them, you know what I'm saying, and doing a great goddamn job at it. And then somebody just breaks in Jerry Heller's house, walks in his house, and he's saying it definitely wasn't probably Suge and him. So what that's telling me is that it was him going in there, allegedly. I'm not saying, I'm just thinking, probably going in there stealing documents and stuff like that, paperwork, and getting stuff together. Because if you look at the whole story with this dude, like I said, he was hired as security, but he came in there obviously with fangs, you know what I'm saying, ready to eat, took over everything. And then eventually he said he's the one that ended up firing Jerry Heller. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that the house got broken into, that was suspicious. Then they said they was talking about when the FBI raided Ruthless Records, he made it seem like it wasn't no raid, they just came there for questions or whatever like that. And he said the FBI asked him if he was part of the Israeli Mossad. So the Israeli Mossad is basically the Israeli equivalent of the CIA. You know what I'm saying? He said that he couldn't, even if he was, he can't say he is if he was. But obviously this dude is part of the Mossad. You know what I'm saying? Along with a couple other Israelis which I ain't even going to get into saying names if you know who they are. Pretty much the people that run hip hop and been running hip hop since way back then. And his voice even sounds like one of the main people that we all know who. I ain't gonna sit there and say the name, you know what I'm saying? Just so happens that this Joker here is also Israeli, operating, doing all kind of crazy stuff, walking around with severed heads, getting away with all type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But then here's the thing though. Now he ends up being best friends with Suge Knight. That's the other thing. He ends up, that's the other thing that made me be like, hold up, business is business, of course, we all know that, but how do you go from being at Ruthless Records, doing all that stuff, protecting them from Suge Knight and Death Row and all this stuff, to you end up now is great friends with Suge Knight? And not only that, he went to see Suge Knight in jail. He's the person that has the rights to Suge Knight's life story all of a sudden now. He's also the person that got Suge Knight his lawyer when he ran over to Terry Carter at the NWA set and all that stuff that got locked up. He said when you seen Suge Knight turn to South Bend when he went down there with the lawyer, he said he got Suge Knight that lawyer. You know what I'm saying? He's the first person that Suge Knight called, he said. So I'm sitting here like, what? This dude is definitely one of these CIA, Mossad, deep government operatives. That's one of them people, just like a Jeffrey, I don't even want to say his name because it might probably flag, but one of them super behind the scenes undercover operatives that run all kind of nefarious operations, doing who knows what, you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff to get away with, because they're pretty much sanctioned to run these operations and do all this kind of stuff. People like this who come in, and everybody who talks about the Joker describes him like he's this big bag Terminator type of dude. Anywhere he goes, you can see his aura coming off his body and all this stuff. I've seen a couple people talk about him. Was they interviewed another bodyguard that was working under him when he was there, you know what I'm saying? When Mike Klein was running Ruthless Records security, they interviewed a different bodyguard who came in, and everybody who talks about him in the same light, but there's really no pictures of the Joker floating around. He's like this mysterious behind the scenes shadowy figure that just has all kind of power, making all kind of moves, you know what I'm saying? But when I heard the Joker say he don't believe there was nothing suspicious about the whole thing with Eazy, that just don't sit right with me, man. I'll be willing to bet this is the Joker that probably, I'm gonna say allegedly, he's probably the person, because there's also this thing about missing Eazy songs, you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a suitcase that got missing and got sold or shipped or is hiding out in Canada with this vault of music, of Eazy-E's music and all this stuff. This Joker here, man, I'm telling you, he rubs me the wrong way. Like, this dude is a shady dude, man, whoever the hell he is. Because the way he just, the movie, he basically cornered Jerry Heller, is what it seems like, into having to give him part ownership of Ruthless Records just for the security bill, which sounds kind of crazy. I mean, how much are you paying for security where you got to give up part of your company for this dude to secure you? Like, what is he actually securing? Is he over there? Does he got secrets on you? Does he know stuff about you that you don't want to come out? So he's pretty much doing the easy arm, strong arm, you know what I'm saying, the rub you on your head, pat you on the back, strong arm. You know what I'm saying? The nice strong arm. Positioning himself with information, making you have to do certain stuff to protect yourself and other, like this stuff is creepy, man. But I just don't understand, like I said, the whole thing what he said about Eazy-E. Now then all of a sudden you best friends with Suge Knight. Suge Knight's the first person you called when he got locked up, or when he hit that dude with the car. Like, now you got Suge Knight's life story rights. Like, something is up with this dude, man.